Hey everybody, in this video we will be trying to find out if synth plugins have become better over the last 2 decades. There's gonna be a few rather technical comparisons, but I'll try to keep these to an absolute minimum. It's all about the actual use in live performance and music production. Our reference point for all this will be the Korg Legacy MS-20 plugin from 2004 for 3 simple reasons. 1. It was one of the first commercially successful software instruments that had a reputation of sounding like the real deal. 2. Most of you will be familiar with the sound aesthetics of the original. And 3. I got hold of this beautiful Korg MS20ic controller, which allows for a more hands-on comparison and will make this little experiment more digestible for the hardware fanatics among you. As our reference plugin is still available for modern platforms, our first mission will be to find out if Korg improved on the software itself. My old Korg Legacy license still works like a charm on this always offline Windows XP PC from the 0 years. I've hooked up the official controller to my current Mac running a demo of Korg Collection 4. MIDI is split and recorded here and sent to the old PC so we can compare more elaborate tweaks as well. Null tests don't work all too well with synths. I tried it with some pure waveforms anyways, and although I didn't manage to make them cancel out completely, they are almost suspiciously close. The same applies to self-oscillation of the filter, and even somewhat complex patches sound virtually identical. A few added features like FX aside, it can be assumed that Korg didn't see any need to improve the synth engine in 20 years. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. That being said, they are not the only manufacturer dabbling in MS-20 emulations. Given the huge similarities in sound, I decided to leave Korg's more recent MS-20 plugin out of the equation for the rest of the video. However, the vintage version will have to stand its ground against what can be considered the industry standard for virtual MS-20s, Arturia's MS-20V. With an honorable mention of the Cherry Audio PS20. Before taking a deep dive into actual sound comparisons, I took another nerdy look at the raw waveforms, and there are profound differences. While the official Korg plugin is based on bright and almost mathematically perfect waves, Arturia's take on the subject is more muted sounding, with the Cherry Audio being somewhere in between. Thanks to Alex Ball for providing me with a few open filter oscillator tones of his gorgeous MS-20 Mark I, which sounds even mellower than the Arturia. Other revisions of the 70s original might behave differently, so I'd say that the MS-20V is sufficiently close and provides a more authentic foundation for your patches than Korg's software instruments past and present. There are 2 ways of comparing similarly structured synths. Set all the knobs to the same position and hope for the best, which probably wouldn't even work with MS-20s with consecutive serial numbers, or adjust them by ear until you are in the same ballpark. You will hear both methods. MS-20s are known for their dirty sound, but are capable of creating cleaner tones too. Let's start with a saw bass plus fifth. That didn't work so well. Scaling of the pitch parameter is different on the Arturia. The envelopes and filter settings definitely need some attention, and gain staging is not ideal. Much better. It's hard to achieve the effortless elegance of the Arturia with a legacy plugin, but both sounds could play the same part in a mix. I really want to know how the 2 instruments deal with square wave Wubs. Again, parameter scaling is off, but not as bad as last time. interesting. I was unable to reproduce the presence and modulation behavior of the old Korg plugin. The instrument on which the original sound design was done seems to have a big advantage. Finally, some percussive filter Zaps. As you have heard, even rather similar instruments react differently to controller input, and their sweet spots vary hugely, which makes it difficult to match tones when tweaking parameters in a musical application. I tried to adjust the response curves using Simon R.'s great MIDI hub Max for Live patch for a little shootout in a jam situation. I found that very enlightening. While the contemporary Arturia plugin offers more depth, the old-school Korg VST comes with a brighter and upfront sound. Matching the controller response curves wasn't easy, and there are obvious differences in resonance and envelope behavior. What is more, I had to crank the volume of the MS-20V substantially, and personally prefer the more VA-like and functional tone of the old plugin here. Let's hear both instruments in a real mix with a few overdubs and a fair bit of added effects. Software instruments have indeed changed profoundly over the last few decades. More authentic emulations of synth legends, streamlined UIs and workflows, and, of course, the introduction of instruments that would have been challenging to create on old computers or in hardware form. Have they become better? Well, that depends on what you're looking for. In this particular case, Arturia's software sounds closer to what you would expect from an analog synth, but I can think of many applications in which the mix-friendly and more VA-like tone of the ancient Korg plugin might be preferable, and it reminds me of digital classics like a JP8K or Nord. However, the real game changer here was, and still is, the dedicated MS-20 controller. Wouldn't it be great if Korg released more of these tailor-made tangible UIs for their plugins? Well, they do. They just add a Raspberry Pi and call it a synthesizer. Thanks for watching and see you next time. Hey everybody, I hope you enjoyed the video. Feel free to like, subscribe, become a patron, leave a comment with your video ideas, and use one of the links down below that help this channel regardless of what your guest commands you to buy.